Good morning. This is Sumana working as Assistant Professor at Department of Biochemistry, Government City College, Nayapur, Hyderabad. Today's our topic is termination and also the inhibitors of DNA replication. How the termination occurs and what are the inhibitors which will inhibit the DNA replication we will discuss in detail. And before going into that, what is a replication? In molecular biology, DNA replication is the biological process of producing two identical replicas of DNA from one original DNA molecule. And this DNA replication occurs in all the living organisms, acting as the most essential part for biological inheritance. And the transmission of chromosomal DNA from generation to generation is crucial to cell propagation, and this can be only be achieved when chromosomal DNA is accurately replicated, providing two copies of the entire genome for faithful distribution into each daughter cell. And here, what is replicon and origin of replication? Here, if you see, what is the origin of replication is nothing but a particular site on the DNA from where the start of the DNA replication occurs. That point is called origin of replication. And the other term is replicon. A replicon is nothing but a unit of DNA replication, which is a unit of DNA in which replication starts from an origin and proceeds bidirectionally to the terminus site is called a replicon. And this replicon can be either linear or circular, and always the prokaryotic replicons are usually circular because the prokaryotes have the circular genome, so the replicon will be in circular. And in bacterial cells, the circular chromosome contains a unique origin and the DNA replication proceeds bidirectionally from the origin to terminus, which has a single replicon called monorepliconic. It means it has a single origin of replication and which goes in bidirectionally. So all the bacterial cells have the monorepliconic. And whereas it comes to the eukaryotes, which has a long DNA or chromosomes, so there will be a many origin of replications on a single chromosome, so that it has many replicons called multirepliconic. And the individual replicons in eukaryotic genomes are relatively small and generally 40 to 100 kilobase pairs in size. And here, if you see about unidirectional and bidirectional replication, what is the meaning of unidirectional replication? Means the replication forks move only in one direction and it will occurs only a single direction. But when it comes to the bidirectional replication, here if you see there are two replication forks, it is going in either directions. In two directions the DNA replication is occurring. That's why it is called bidirectional replication. And in eukaryotes it will follow only the bidirectional replication model. Next, the DNA replication in E. coli. The genome of the E. coli is replicated bidirectionally from a single origin, which is called ori, C-O-R-I, and this E. coli replicon is circular with no free ends. The E. coli replicon is circular with no free ends. And the replication of DNA in E. coli is also known theta replication, which occurs in 3 steps. Why it is called theta replication? Because the E. coli genome is circular in structure, and when the replication is occurring bidirectionally, it will looks like this way, theta. Actually the symbol for theta is this one. So in the middle of the replication, the structure of replication and genome, it will looks like theta form. That's why it is called theta replication. And what are the 3 steps of the DNA replication are initiation, elongation and termination. And what is initiation? The initiation involves the recognition of the position on a DNA molecule where the replication begins. So here what happens in the initiation step is, first the parent DNA, which is occupied by the DNA proteins with the binding, the helicase activity will be started. What it will do is, it will break the hydrogen bonds between two complementary strands of the parent DNA so that it can provide the template strand. And to maintain the single strand DNA, the single strand binding proteins will bind with the DNA molecule so that the two complementary strands cannot re-anneal again. And then this DNA polymerase 3 cannot add the deoxyribonucleotides directly to the template strand. It requires free 3' hydroxyl group, and that will be provided by the RNA primer. This RNA primer synthesis will be done by the enzyme primase. This primase enzyme will add the RNA molecule or ribonucleotides. It is around 10 to 15 nucleotides will be added. That will act as the RNA primer, which will provide the 3' hydroxyl group for the DNA polymerase 3 enzyme, so that now the DNA polymerase will add one by one nucleotide in the elongation step. And in the elongation consists the events occurring at the replication fork where the parent polynucleotides are copied. Whatever the nucleotides are there in the template DNA strand, the complementary deoxyribonucleotides will be added in the newly synthesizing DNA strand. And between two nucleotides there is a formation of the phosphodiester bond occurs, and one strand will be continuously synthesized, that is called leading strand, and the other strand will synthesize discontinuously and Okazaki fragments will be formed. That's why it is called semi-discontinuous replication. And each Okazaki fragment consisting of RNA primer. So those RNA primers will be removed by the action of the enzyme DNA polymerase of 5' 3' exonuclease activity. So these primers will be removed by the action of the 5' 3' exonuclease activity of the DNA polymerase 1, and these two strands will be together, the two segments of DNA will be together by the action of the enzyme DNA ligase, which will forms the phosphodiester bond between 3' hydroxyl group of the one DNA strand and the 5' phosphate group of the other DNA strand, so that two separate strands will be together and forms as a single DNA strand. This happens in the elongation step. And what will happens in the termination step is that when the parent molecule has been completely replicated, the termination will occurs, and how this termination occurs we'll discuss in this class. And the proteins which are involved in the DNA replication are categorized into 4 groups. Those are, in E. coli, more than 20 different proteins participate in the replication, and on the basis of their biochemical roles in different stages of chromosomal DNA replication, these proteins are classified into several categories. Those are the proteins which are involved in the initiation of replication, that is DNA A single stranded binding protein, that is SSB. Next, DNA B helicase, and the DNA C and DNA G primase are involved in the initiation of the replication. The second category of proteins are for chain elongation and which will connect the Okazaki fragments. Those are DNA polymerase SSB single stranded binding protein, DNA gyrase and DNA ligase. And the third category of proteins are a swivel to relieve the positive supercoiling in advance of the replication fork. The enzyme is DNA gyrase. And the proteins for the termination of replication and segregation of daughter molecules are terminus binding protein and DNA topoisomerase 4. These enzymes will involve in the termination of the replication and also will separate the two daughter molecules. And the comparison of the proteins between E. coli and human beings are the helicase activity will be done in the E. coli by the protein DNA B. The same function will be done in the human beings by the MCM. And single strand DNA binding proteins are SSBs in the E. coli, whereas RPA, replication protein A, in human beings. And the primase activity, that is synthesis of RNA primer, will be done by the DNA G in the E. coli, and it will be done by the enzyme DNA polymerase alpha or primase in the human beings. And the replicase enzyme is the DNA polymerase 3 in E. coli, and in human beings it is DNA polymerase epsilon or DNA polymerase delta. Next, the topoisomerase activity is by the gyrase enzyme in the E. coli and by the topo 1 and 2 in the human beings. Now, the processivity component is the beta clamp in the E. coli, whereas it is pCNA in human beings, that is proliferating cell nuclear antigen. Next, gamma complex acts as a clamp loader in E. coli, and it is done by in human beings by RFC, that is replication factor C. This is about the different proteins or enzymes in E. coli and the human beings. Now, the termination of the DNA replication. How this will occur is that the bacterial genomes are replicated bidirectionally from a single point, which means that the two replication forks should meet at a position diametrically opposite the origin of replication on the genome map. And the replication of genome terminates at a terminus region containing multiple copies of about 23 base pair sequences called TER sequences, TER for terminus, and 7 of these have been identified in the E. coli genome, and each one acting as the recognition site for a sequence specific DNA binding protein called TUS protein. Those are called terminus utilization substance. And when bound to a terminator sequence, a TUS protein allows a replication fork to pass if the fork is moving in one direction but blocks the progress if fork is moving in the opposite direction around the genome. And the directionality is set by the orientation of the TUS protein on the double helix. When approached from one direction, TUS blocks the passage of the DNA-B helicase, which is responsible for the progression of the replication fork. But when approaching from the other direction, DNA-B is able to cross the TUS protein. And if you see in this diagram, see these are the TER proteins. Those are this TER A, TER is for terminus A, D, E is in clockwise fork trap, and TER C, B, F and G are anti-clockwise trap proteins sites sequences. And this ORIC, that is origin, this is clockwise replication fork and this anti-clockwise replication fork. And if you see in this one, in this direction is occurring, so the replication fork is trapped here. See, if these are the TUS proteins, termination utilization proteins. These are moving from either side, in this direction and in direction, and part of the segment is trapped between these two TUS segments. And the orientation of the terminus sequences and hence of the bound TUS proteins in the E. coli genome is such that both replication forks become trapped within a relatively short on the opposite side of the genome to the origin. See, this is the origin region, and opposite side of the origin it is trapped between TUS proteins. This ensures that termination always occurs at or near the same position. And when a circular chromosome finishes replicating, the two new circles may be physically interlocked or catenated. Catenated means, see, after the replication, two strands are synthesized. Those will get interlocked like this. This is called interlocked. In this way, interlocked two new strands. Such interlocked DNA must be separated so that each daughter cell receives a single double stranded upon cell division. And this decatenation of interlocked circles is carried out by the topoisomerase 4, which is a type 2 topoisomerase. How the action of topoisomerase? This type 2 topoisomerase means which will break the two strands of the DNA, hence it will create the nick. Through that nick, the two strands will be moved so that the interlock will be relieved. In this way, the termination occurs. The termination occurs only after the complete synthesis of the parent DNA molecule. And here it is proofreading. What is the meaning of proofreading? See, when there is A in the parent strand, the complementary nucleotide, that is T, should be there in the newly synthesizing strand. That is called proofreading. Only the complementary nucleotides should be added. And how the proofreading occurs in the E. coli is that the DNA replication is amazingly accurate with only about one error for every billion bases incorporated. For every billion, only one error will be there. And this accuracy is necessary to keep the mutation load at a tolerable level, especially in large genomes such as those of mammals, which contains around 3 into 10 to the power of 9 nucleotide pairs. And the DNA proofreading involves the scanning the termini of the nascent DNA chains for errors and correcting them before continuing the chain extension. And this process is carried out by the 3' 5' exonuclease activity that is built into the DNA polymerases. When a template primer DNA has a terminal mismatch, an unpaired or incorrectly paired base or sequence of bases at the 3' end of the primer, the 3' 5' exonuclease activity of the DNA polymerase clips off the unpaired base or bases. When an appropriately base pair terminus is produced, the 5' 3' polymerase activity of the enzyme begins resynthesizing by adding nucleotides to the 3' end of the primer strand. Whenever there is a mismatch in the base pair, it will be removed by the action of the 3' 5' exonuclease activity of the DNA polymerase, so that mismatched nucleotide will be removed and the correct nucleotide will be incorporated, then the chain will get elongate or extend. This is about the proofreading of the DNA replication. Now the inhibitors of the DNA replication. What is the inhibition which will prevent? The molecules or compounds which inhibits the DNA replication are called inhibitors of DNA replication. These are categorized into 3 here. The examples are ciprofloxacin, novobiocin and nalidixic acid. These compounds are widely used as antibacterial agents since they can effectively block the replication of DNA and multiplication of cells by inhibiting the gyrase enzyme, which is a topoisomerase. What is the function of topoisomerase? Which will release the supercoiling. So when this is inhibiting the gyrase, there is no relaxation. So there is no relaxation of the supercoiling, so there is no helicase activity also. Then there is the no provision for the template strand. And these antibacterial agents have almost no effect on human enzymes. That's why these acts as the antibiotics, because it will inhibit only the bacterial DNA replication but not the human beings. And the other category is that adriamycin, etoposide and the doxorubicin. These compounds inhibit the human topoisomerase, and so that these can be used as the anti-cancer agents which will inhibit the human topoisomerase. What happens in the cancer? There is more replication or more multiplication of the cells occurs. If there is a replication, then only multiplication will occur. So the compounds which will inhibit the human topoisomerase, so that there is no replication, that's why it will stop the or prevent the multiplication of the cells in the cancerous cells. And the other categories is the 6-mercaptopurine and 5-fluorouracil. These are the nucleotide analogs. In that way, this 6-mercaptopurine is like purine or pyrimide, like adenine or guanine, and this 5-fluorouracil is the structural analog for the uracil. So that these nucleotide analogs which will inhibit the DNA replication are also used as anti-cancer drugs. So whatever the inhibitors are there, those may be used as antibiotics or anti-cancer drugs to prevent the DNA replication, so that there is no multiplication of the cells occurs, so that it can prevent either bacterial infections or the multiplication of the cancerous cells or formation of the tumors. So these are about the inhibitors of the DNA replication. In this class we have discussed about the both termination and also the inhibitors of the DNA replication. And thank you to all.